Hello and welcome to Matty. I am on and off working on my presentation. Besides my complete philosophy, I'm also working on a complete analysis of Stanley Kubrick's movie The Shining, which is one of my absolute favorites. Right? Okay, so I was just thinking that just to give you a little taster, or maybe not even a taster, but something to think about this movie. Just what's it called? You add a little interest, maybe a little longing for my upcoming analysis, of which I am just about halfway through making the PowerPoint presentation. Right, I am around the time of the old hag in the bathroom, the young lady that turns into the old hag. Right, okay. But I wanted to give you something to think about here, right? And this is one of many, many, many famous shots from this movie, right? Um, this movie is basically one giant collection of iconic shots. This is a true master at work here, right? And I tell you, this movie is packed to the brim. What's it called? Packed to the top with symbolism and ideas, and it's like I I am baffled, right? Okay, but enough of that. This is the second to last shot, I believe, right? The shot where we see Jack in the snow here, right? And I might add that, if you're into this movie and know the history of it, there was actually a second to last scene between this shot and the final tracking shot into the July 4th ball photo, right? Which was removed after the very, very first initial pre-premieres, whatever, right? So there was sort of a limited premieres in New York and LA, and then Kubrick had this particular scene removed, which was Wendy in the hospital with Danny and Ullman, which is interesting. All of a sudden, he reappears after being gone from the movie for maybe 1.5 hours, right? Okay, but that's not the point here. Now this shot is the second to last shot before, or the last shot before the tracking shot into the photo. What I want you to try to pinpoint here, what is wrong with this shot? Because there's an aspect of this shot that is incorrect. I don't want to, you need to use your thinking skills yourself, right? It's just to give you an appetite of, for what might be coming in my presentation, right? What is wrong with this shot? And maybe the reason why I show you this shot in particular was that I have never been the kind of guy who sort of take a movie apart and look at all its pieces and so on, right? I just, I enjoy a movie, and I like it, or, cinematography is interesting, and, the way of the storytelling and so on, right? But with The Shining, this is a special case. And I think what ultimately got me going in with this deep analysis was that this shot always, but it has bothered me. But I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was about it that made me sort of, doesn't work. There's also the editing. It might be a bit because of this scene that has been removed, but also there's some on the front end of the shot. It just comes very sort of, oh my God, right? That was fast, right? So it's sort of, I always sort of felt that it was amateurish, if you know what I mean. It was that's a hard cut, right? So it's a sort of out of the blue kind of thing, right? So, and I sort of parked it, I think, for many years since I saw it way back. I think I saw this movie the first time sometime in the late 80s, maybe. I might have seen it on the television in the early 80s, and not because I think I remember the look of Wendy and her scared look there with it, when he hacked through the door, right? I think I have seen it, but I'm not sure. But I'm confident that I saw it on video late in the 1980s, right? Sort of really for the first time. And it always bothered me, this one. So, can you pinpoint what it might be? See you in the next one.